Yeah, and there you go. We have no fancy intro. There's no segue to this. We just break right into the stuff here on the show. There again, we're trying to keep this simple. As the easier the lift, the more likely we are to do this. Now, one of the things we found is that we don't often have time as often as we would like to do this. So we are going to start this program off just going with once a month. Just so that we can kind of build ourselves a rhythm and see how we fit into this, not overwhelming ourselves so that we don't do it at all. So it's been about a month since our last episode, the episode 1 of Table Talk. And that's where we started talking about changing this journey from one of starting your business to one of how to manage your business and manage all the stress that goes along with that and not drag that home with you and ruin your relationships at home with your family and stuff like that. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
That's kind of what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
And so today I want to talk a little bit more about where we were at, where we started at the beginning of the year and where we're at kind of as we reflect on the end of the year with my mental health. And now I'm just like looking right over here and there's a cup that has my drink in it and I really need a touch of water. So, it's right there. I can see it right in the camera. It's just right there. Tonya's going to come. Thank you.
I got it.
I appreciate it.
Fine.
So anyhow, we want to talk a little bit about where we started our journey at the beginning of the year, where we're at now, and how maybe you want to look at things moving forward. So where we're going to start? You want to start in May or?
Well,
beginning of the year.
Did we talk about how bad things were?
Yeah, we've basically touched on kind of how miserable I was because I was under a lot of stress from the startup, and then a lot of stress, probably more, not even just because of the startup, although that was plenty of it, but equally as much just because I was watching my kids not thrive the way we wanted them to. And I don't know, for those of you that are parents, certainly you can understand that the some of the most stress we can be in as parents is when our kids are in pain. I mean, I felt all their pain and you can just tell when they're not thriving. And that was probably the toughest thing for me. And that's really was the catalyst to us jumping back home. You know, we kind of jumped to Florida, looking at the Steve Harvey stuff, and then we jumped back just as fast.
I think I said all the time, I think we're messing up our kids.
And I disagree. I think that everything happens for a reason. I think that there's good things that come out of even bad situations, because I look back in my life and I think about all the things that maybe weren't pleasant at the time. But as I said the other day, there's not a lot of that I would change.
Okay, well, in retrospect, you're right. But at the time, I really felt that we were messing up our kids.
Yeah. And then now we're watching them thrive, and not in the typical sense either. We should probably talk about that.
That might be another one.
That's something I think that we face, because in our industry, we're contractors. And I think that there's a lot of like-minded contractors out there that feel the same way I do about the education system and how tilted it is and how tough it is for kids like myself to succeed in that system. So yeah. So this is a big part of what I do now. Is I just drink a lot of water. I like to have a little bit of flavor.
We do have.
We have a little bit of poppy. That's some pretty interesting soda too.
Has anybody tried poppy? Like,
it's prebiotic soda. The cranberry is good. That's the cranberry.
Cranberry. There, right? This is the Christmas limited edition. It's cranberry fizz.
Yeah, it's really good. The cola is actually really good, and this is soda that is 5 grams.
Let's see, 4 grams of sugar,
but 25 calories.
25 calories.
And there's no artificial sweeteners too, right?
It has apple cider vinegar in it, so it's good for your gut. Yeah,
so really good stuff. So these are the type of things that we're looking at now that we're trying to make sure that we're healthy. Anyhow. So let's talk about where we were. That's why I want to start in May, is because I have a really good indicator. Give me a second. You talk about where you're at, and I can pull up I think I have labs from when I came down in like December. Let me pull those up. Those will be a good one to look at. So talk about where you started off at the beginning of the year.
The beginning of the year?
Yeah, when we moved here back to Powell. Where were you at health-wise, mental-wise?
Not good.
So
let's see. Mental health-wise, I think my mental health was a little bit better after we moved back, just because Florida just took a toll. And I was extremely homesick, and seeing how the kids were affected and seeing how he was affected. Mainly it was him. I saw a lot of negative, not negative, but.
Well, we talked about how December 2nd of 2022 in Cabo is when I had my first drink in like 17 years.
Well, and Mark and I have always been in a good place, but it's just seeing your partner struggle with a lot of things. But so mentally, I was doing a lot better once we moved back to Wyoming, just because we were able to slow down and not drive mock Jesus on the interstate and actually take 5 minutes to get anywhere in our hometown. And we actually had to turn the Florida off, like,
turn it down a notch.
Turn it down a notch.
Yeah, we're back to the much slower.
You don't run the yellow lights because our yellow lights are like a second compared to Florida, where you have time to like scream through them. Anyhow, physically, I was not doing well at all. I think that's probably the heaviest I've ever been about that time.
And it hurts to say that.
It hurts to say that.
It sucks to say that, but we know that
the chills right now.
We look at those pictures. And we're like, wow, I can't believe that was us.
But at the time, I'm like, yeah, it's not that bad. I'm like, I'm not that bad. It's fine. But looking back,
it was indeed
that bad. Probably worse than I thought. But anyhow, so come about beginning of May, I started talking to a couple friends who had success with weight loss. And trust me, I have tried all my life to lose weight and be healthy, and everything I tried failed. So it's kind of one of those things where you jump on those fad diets and you do really well and you get on track, and then you fall off that wagon and gain everything back plus some usually. And then you just feel really defeated, because nothing is worse than trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing. Cyclical.
Man, I can't find the labs that I had. So we're just gonna have to.
I know where it's at.
I don't know why I'm not seeing it.
I'll
let her look. So where I was at in January when we moved back, is I was a pretty fragile mental state. I think that those of you that watch the channel, the bucket video, a lot of you said that you felt the pain in that. That was all the pain that I was feeling right then. I just didn't know how to express that. And honestly, I think if I would have even started thinking about it too much, I probably would have just broke down. It was just more than I could handle at that time. And I probably one of the tougher things that I'd done. And that was weighing on me physically as well, and not just the mental aspect of it, but I was I was about the heaviest that I'd ever been. I had never been heavier than that in my life. I was at a point where my cholesterol was through the roof, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. My blood pressure was through the roof because I wasn't happy and I wasn't medicating there wasn't being treated, because I wanted to just live in denial and be like, I can get control of this and I can take care of this. So, and those things didn't make me feel better. I've had a lot of conversations with people that I know, a lot of my friends around the country, and a lot of them are in kind of much the same state of mind. They're just stuck in life, and you get kind of complacent because you've been out there and you've been working for so long, and the thing that you're working on is your business. You're not working on yourself. And so people just get kind of lost. And then when they look up in the mirror and they are so far away from where they started, they don't know how to get back to where they started. And they just get frustrated, or they try like I did. I started in 2015 and I got down to one of my lightest weights since I was probably a freshman in college, but wasn't able to maintain it. And that was just really frustrating, because I could wake up in the morning and not only did I not feel good mentally, I didn't feel good physically, because how could I with high blood pressure and high cholesterol? I mean, my blood was basically sludge. And I just didn't like who I saw in the mirror. I could tell there was something wrong, whether it be the alcohol that was talking, or the stress, or medicating the stress with alcohol. And it was just making things so much worse. Every drop of alcohol I was taking was only adding fuel to a fire that was already burning. And now looking back on the outside of that, I can see that. And all I really wanted to do was get to where I was happy mentally and liked who I saw in the mirror. And I could see all that anger coming out, and I didn't like it because I knew I'd been there before. And that's when I realized that once again, I had a problem, and it was time to admit I had a problem and do something about it.
Can we talk about your inside and how high your cholesterol was?
Yeah, we did. If you have the lab results, that's
I have from May.
Yeah, I have the May ones. They're printed out right there.
They're
right in front of you.
Oh, that's August.
No, there's a May one. Did
Please
I print
hold.
two of the same one? Huh?
Please hold.
Because I'm telling you.
I have September.
Yeah, September, and then one of them was from May. Did I not print out the right one?
Nope.
Well,
You printed 2 of August.
dang it. Oh, good night.
No, you didn't. You printed the whole thing of August. August was when they did the whole pedal. Anyhow.
Okay, well, I have the other one.
May.
Because I went to May.
Right there.
This one? That's August. This one.
No, it's May.
But it says...
See?
Oh.
5/22.
Oh, well. All right. So let's see. This is the stuff that's really important. And for those of you that may not be monitoring your health a whole lot or may not be caring about this stuff, it matters a lot. And so one of the things that made me take note is I came and got my labs at the hospital here in Powell in, I want to say October or December when I was here. And they just did a quick panel, and my cholesterol ratio was like 6. No, it was higher than that.
It was higher than that.
It was like, oh, it was bad. It was like 8. I don't know. It was really bad. And then I just didn't feel good, and I was trying to figure out how I can make myself feel better. So the first thing I did was consult somebody that could help me, because I talked to the doctor at that point and said, maybe I'm just low on testosterone. Maybe that's zapping my energy, because I didn't have the ambition to really go out there and thrive like I had been. I'm just a hard charging, driven guy, and for me to just lay around and be kind of ambivalent to what's going on around me is just not natural. And so I talked to them about my testosterone, and they said, no, it's not low enough to treat. For us, and I think I don't remember what that was at that point in time either, but
I want to say it was in the low 3s.
Anyhow, my cholesterol in May was about a 6. So the cholesterol ratio was a 6, and I think it was maybe just a little bit higher than that in December.
And they want you less than 5.
Less than 5.
Preferably well less than 5. 5 is like the...
Every one that you go up above 5 is like a huge multiplier for heart. I mean, basically you're just a walking heart attack waiting for a place to happen. And so that was pretty alarming. My testosterone, when she tested it at the clinic, was 251, which they considered low. It said that 280 to 1100 is the range. So I'm just barely on the low side, but the reality of the situation is how did I feel? I didn't feel good. I wasn't happy. And so that's the first place we started. And she said, well, maybe if you take this, then that'll help you get the metabolism up and things will start moving in the direction that you want. So I did that for a couple of months. And then after I just wasn't losing any weight, and I just really didn't have the motivation at that point in time to work out either. Let's be honest. I wanted to just focus on the weight loss first and add in different pieces as we kept going, because I know I've been in the place in the past where I did, I basically took everything and I did everything at once rather than just focusing on one thing at a time and then adding in something else, because we all want to start this and we just want, I'm just going to do it all.
And what happened? Did we succeed?
No, we did not succeed. Yeah, we indeed did not succeed. And that's why I wanted to do this a little bit different. Tonya said, well, I'm going to just try and lose the weight. And then when I start getting the weight off, I think I'll feel when I need to exercise, because if you lose too much weight and you don't exercise, you'll be all wrinkly and flabby, and you still won't like who you are. So, and I felt that. I could feel when the shift was, and my body said, hey, I just really want to start amping this up and taking it to the next level. So I started working out, and I didn't start working out until only 3 weeks ago. I think this is my third week of working out. Yeah. 3rd or 4th. So just adding that in, and that just really focusing on diet kind of in the interim, not just eating all the trash. And if I get a little bit hungry, then I'm looking for things that are a better option, because I don't necessarily feel like I want to be on the medications that I am now permanently. But the other thing that I did is in July, I got on the same medication that you are. And I think that that's worth talking about here, because I think there's a lot of stereotypes and negative things about this, because what you see in the news. So you already talked about.
No, I didn't get there.
Okay. Well, talk about our journey to get on GLP-1s.
Like I was saying, is I began to talk to a couple of my friends who were having success. And then, of course, when people are having success, you're like, hey, what are you doing? And so they're like, well, I'm on semaglutide or tirzepatide. I think one was on tirzepatide. But anyhow, so I just started doing a little bit of research about the medications, figure out what they are, because, nobody wants to take medications. Nobody wants to get on medications. It's scary. You don't know what the side effects are. And I guess the unknown of what it does. But I started to do a lot of research on it. Like TikTok was my friend. I watched a lot of videos on TikTok, and follow a lot of doctors on TikTok actually that were talking about it. And after talking to 2 people that were having success on it, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I made an appointment with a provider locally that has a clinic, and she's amazing because she thinks outside the box. She has a lot of holistic views. And I went and talked to her, and she shared with me all the side effects, all the benefits, what it's about, how it works.
And the side effects are all short term.
There.
We're not talking long term health damage. We're talking long term health gain, and that's one of the things we started looking at very seriously. Is how much damage am I doing to my own health by not taking control of this aspect of it, versus what are the long term ramifications, or it could be the negative outcome of taking this. And the reality is that there's been a lot of research on this for a lot of time.
And that's what she was saying, is that you're more at risk if you don't do anything about it.
Yeah, I was a heart attack looking for a place to be. So,
and while my lab work was actually good, my cholesterol has always been good. Everything else was not good. My body was not good. My mental health was not good. And so she actually gave me my shot there that same day. I started that day. I went and started. That was May 20th. And then she basically shared that the side effects you're going to have are nausea. Sometimes you can throw up.
Yeah, and some people have a little bit different symptoms. That's one of the things that I had a little bit.
But that's like the main ones. It could just make you feel sick.
Yeah,
that was the main one.
This is a really good comment here from El Toro. I'll go ahead and bring this up. It says sometimes you have to be selfish and take care of your health so that you can effectively take care of your family. Absolutely. And that's something I've said often recently, and that is you can't, and
us as
a
humans,
broken person can't help anybody.
Us as humans, we always want to help other people, and we always put ourselves last. It's the same reason why mothers don't take care of their own, they don't buy themselves clothes, and they don't get their hair done, and they don't do everything else because they're so busy taking care of other people. It's hard to take a step back and take care of yourself. You
might need to move up in your mic just a little bit more.
Okay.
If you can't hear us say something, we're kind of new at this, and we're trying to figure out where we need to keep these things.
Just trying to look
Basically,
at the right place.
I think we need to almost eat these, but we want to make sure you guys can hear us because audio is important. So yeah, and then I did the testosterone, that didn't work, and then I said, hey, I want to get on this, and I started off looking at an online clinic, but I realized that I wanted a more personal touch, so we did switch. I went to the same one that she had been, and I'd been going in with her, so I was comfortable with it, and it was the same one managing my testosterone. So decided to do that, and immediately started seeing great results.
I think by the time you came in, I was down 15 pounds.
Yeah, 15, maybe even
20 pounds.
Yeah, you had a good melt right there at the beginning. Mine's just been kind of slow and steady over the course. But I started to see that, and I started out at 191, just to give you some, and then just recently today had my weigh-in for, what have I been on this since July?
Yeah.
So almost 6 months now. So almost 6 months. So in 6 months, I started out at 191, and now I weighed at 170.3. My visceral fat level, which I didn't know what that was. Visceral fat is basically all the fat around your organs and stuff. Yes. So it's not good stuff.
That if you have a higher amount of visceral fat, you're at higher risk for heart disease, stroke.
Yeah, weird. And it went right along with that high blood pressure
and cholesterol.
High cholesterol. So
weird.
I had everything going against me. It's no wonder I felt like I was dying, like my brain was telling me I was dying. And I apologize to you guys. This is not supposed to, I broadcast this on the FWI Facebook page, and that was just to reach more of our audience since we don't have a Facebook page for Successful Contractor anymore. But this is, and then I didn't change the banner and didn't even notice. So this is Successful Contractor, which is now Table Talk Thursday. And if you're new to us, we actually have a fencing company where we teach people how to do fencing, and that's on a different channel called SWI, which is why you might be seeing this banner up on the top of that. So I apologize for that. I'll fix this on the next one. But for right now, we're just going to barrel on ahead with whatever mistakes we've already made.
Keep on going.
Visceral fat dropped from a 7 to a 5. And the low end of the scale is about a 5. So I'm very happy with that. That makes me feel a lot better. Really, some key highlights is my body fat percentage went from 23.7 all the way down to 15.4. And I think water's gone up quite a bit. No, she'd probably still yell at me for water. I still need to drink more water, even though I drink plenty of water with electrolytes. Absolutely love. What's the stuff we drink?
Liquid IV.
Liquid IV. Yeah, this is the stuff everybody's doing.
It's really good.
So,
well, and so I am down almost 45 pounds.
Yeah, 45 pounds in 8 months.
7.5, yeah.
Yeah, slow and easy. And it's not about getting there overnight. It's about going slow and easy so that you're not depriving yourself and you're not binging and you're not doing all these things. But my blood pressure is under control and your blood pressure is under control, and you're using less medication now than you were before.
Yep.
You dropped one medication completely and you cut the other one in half.
For my blood pressure? Yeah. I'm down to one. Yeah.
One, and do you cut
Minimal.
that in half?
Yeah,
so you're half the dose that you were, and I'm half the dose that I was. And I'm hoping that pretty soon that we'll be all the way off that stuff. I don't want to be on any of those medications. And typically, if I would have went to a normal doctor, what they would have said is they would have said, Mark, it would probably do you some good to lose some weight, but here's some cholesterol medication.
Yeah. Here's a statin.
Yeah, here's a statin. And if you know anything, if you want to do any research, those are terrible things to be on. You absolutely don't want to be on these things.
But did you say what your ratio is now?
Oh, yeah. What is my ratio now?
Where's it at?
Is it on the backside?
Oh, wait, this is May. I was looking at the wrong date.
See, I told you. You were telling me that Yeah, so the labs are a little bit old. I'm really excited to do my labs next month. So I do them
here we go.
At the very beginning of January, and I hope that they're even better than this.
So this was September 18th. You had him redrawn, and his ratio dropped from 6 to 4.2. So now he's in the normal range.
And I'm hoping to get that down to like 2. I just want to have that as low as possible. I just want to get super healthy. And now that I've added the workout into that, I think that the workout, getting that metabolism up, is going to be key.
So the other thing I want to point out is that, so I don't know if you know much about cholesterol, but there's the HDL and LDL. So your good and bad cholesterol.
This is the nurse coming out, by the way.
Sorry. Here she comes. Anyhow, so the bad cholesterol dropped like almost 40 points.
Yeah. And I suspect that we're going to have an even bigger drop the next time, because it's been 3 months and now we've added the even better eating and even better exercise into that. So I want to speak on the exercise piece too. Something that I did is I realized that I needed help in that realm, because I needed somebody to hold me accountable. And so I basically just thought of the most fit person that I could think of. One of the most fit persons I could think of that's like passionate about it, constantly posting about it. And the one person that just came to mind was the guy I've met him before, but saw at the fence retreat, and he's just getting people charged up, and that's Chris Gass. So I reached out to Chris Gass, who runs Jack Fencing in Louisiana. Excellent man. Said, hey, Chris, would you consider helping me? Because I need some help knowing what to do. I don't know what movements I should be doing. I just want to build muscle. I want to get lean. And Chris said, okay, here, I'm going to get you on a program. He got me set up with an app and did everything. And now I'm in an accountability group with some other fencers, Cannon Johnson being one of them. And I don't remember the other gentleman's name. I'm terrible at names. But then obviously Sean King's huge into this. Now Sean King's kind of joined a message group that we have. And it's just the rest of us trying to take control of our health, because I think I speak on behalf of Cannon a little bit, but him and I have spoken a lot. And he was just frustrated with just being fat and flabby. He just wanted to feel good about who he was again. He just let himself go. And at one time he did the was it 70-day challenge or whatever it is, 70 hard or whatever, and he was looking really good, and then he kind of that trend ended, and then it left him feeling bad about himself again. So he just decided to take control of his health, and there's just a lot of people doing that. Josh Glover was one of them that I saw in the gym, and so I had a couple choices there too. I could have said, I'm just going to, it's May or it's July. Why don't I just wait until the beginning of the year? Right. That's all right. I'm going to wait until after 4th of July, or I'm going to wait till after this, or after my birthday, or whatever holiday, after, and then we just keep putting it out. Or maybe I do start at the beginning of the year. But instead of doing that, my mentality has always been that if something's worth doing, it's worth doing now. If it's worth doing later, it's worth doing today. So why not just go ahead and get it done now? I need to work on that just a little bit with my paperwork because I'm not so good about thinking about that. But look, the life and health, that's kind of where I'm thinking more like I need to really pay attention.
Baby steps. We'll get there
Baby
eventually.
steps. And so much like that, when I started feeling the call to exercise, I didn't say, hey, I'm going to wait to start exercising until the first of the year. I said, okay, it's December. It's some random day in December or November when I started doing it. It's November 27th. I'm not going to wait till the 1st of December. I'm just going to do it today. And I'm definitely not going to wait till the end of the year because I want to get results now. And the only way to get results now is to take action now. And if I could say anything, that's it. Like if something's worth doing and you want the results, start taking action now. The faster, the better. Because these are things that I wish I would have done sooner. And now my mentality shift is a little bit different. I want to be a champion for these things because I know how much it's helped me. I can't even express to you how much better I feel about myself and about who I am. And my patience is getting better. And I don't have the anger fits because I'm not drinking. I don't feel bad about myself. And bad people don't make other people feel better about themselves. I'm just going to say. They just don't do that. And that's not who I want to be.
Well, and something else we should probably touch on is some people may not know what semaglutide is all about. So
did you talk about that from the nurse's standpoint? Because all I know is it's just a little bit of stuff, and
just a little bit of stuff.
I just inject it once a week.
It is an injection.
No, I'm like twice a week actually, but
give it to yourself. But it's and I'm not techie, but I will tell you that it's more than just weight loss. It's more than just keeping you from eating. That most people say, well, it just makes you feel like you're full all the time. And yes, it does. So it does slow down the way your stomach empties. So you hold on to your food a little bit longer. And that in turn makes you feel full. But it also affects your brain and it affects your insulin. So those who are insulin resistant, which insulin is how our body helps use our metabolism. And when our insulin is not working properly, then our metabolism is not working and we store that as fat. So people that are super skinny, they're burning lots of.
Yeah, they have very, very high metabolism. So they're like, people like
so their insulin is working.
There's that swimmer and he's like, I eat like 8,000 calories a day. Well, he can get away with it because he is constantly burning. He's burning when he's sleeping.
Burning. But most of us who are middle-aged are not.
Yeah, when you hit 30 and you put on a little bit of weight, and that's what happened. I hit 30, I put on a little bit of weight, and then I hit 40 and I put on more weight. And then pretty soon, what I had to look at is that whole analogy. It's the children that are raised with an alcoholic parent. They can either say, when they say, why do you drink? Well, I watched my parents. And then if they say, why don't you drink? I watched my parents. Well, you get to choose which way you want to go. Are you going to follow in their footsteps? Or are you going to say, hey, I'm going to break the chain? And that's kind of one of the things that happened to me is I didn't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to get to my place in my life where I have everything I want except for health. And now I have all the time and the resources to do the things I want, but I have the health not to do it. Or I don't have the health to do it.
Well, and the other thing is the medication helps decrease the inflammation in your body. So if you have like a lot of bloating or just feel like puffy all the time, it takes that away. Like it makes it go away.
So Cannon said, 75 hard and it worked, but it was too fast and not sustainable. And that's
what fad diets do. They're fast and they're totally unsustainable.
And there's people that are on this that can easily say that if I have to be on this and I have to take a maintenance shot once a month or once every other week or whatever I have to do, or just a low dose every week, then it's still beneficial because it's keeping all that fat off that is going to destroy your body and your health. And the inflammation is what they were talking about.
The inflammation is huge. And once it takes that inflammation away, but also, I don't know if everyone knows what food noise is, but it's like always thinking about food, like always craving food, always looking for your next meal, always wanting food, and it takes that away. So your brain just kind of shuts up and you eat when you're hungry. So, and in turn, with your stomach being full, you don't eat as much. Mm-hmm. But there's actually studies now that they're doing on the GLP-1s, and it's been tested to actually help your heart health, reduce the risk of heart attacks and stroke.
Reducing weight is going to be a big part of that.
But medication is being tested for that as well. And also it's being tested for addiction treatment. So by working on your brain, it takes away the cravings, which in turn can help those who are suffering through alcoholism or any other, food addiction, any other one of those addictions.
That was
may be
a side
troubling.
effect. One of the side effects I absolutely wanted. I wanted it to, I wasn't. So the alcoholism that I left in 2007 isn't the alcoholism that I left. Wasn't the devastating alcoholism the same? And it was just, I knew I had a problem, and I knew that I could feel it creating anger in me, and I could feel the chemical imbalance starting, and it was just making things worse. It was not making them better. And it was just that conscious decision that, hey, this is where I get off the bus. I've been down this road. We're not going to do this anymore. And so, and I waited a little bit. First thing I did was just cut back. I didn't, the first time that I quit, I just said, I went all in and said, I'm going to quit. But this time I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut down. I'm going to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm keeping it reasonable. So if I went out and I had a beer, it was a beer. It was exactly one beer and not more than one beer. And then once I got that mastered, I just went, okay, well, and then it just kind of went away. And I just said, you know what? Nothing good's going to come of this. It just made me feel tired in the morning and worse. And I actually caught it making my heart, giving me AFib. Yeah, AFib. One day I'd had about 3 beers and I felt my heart do something weird. And so I used my ECG on my watch and did it. And it's like, yeah, you have signs of AFib. And so that's like, okay, maybe I should really pay attention. My body is literally trying to tell me, you're killing me.
Knock it off.
I should probably pay attention. Those times when I had that anxiety, like I was going to die, I probably was dying. And I was definitely on the road. That was my body trying to warn me. So I'm glad that I finally listened to that. It took me a little bit, but and I feel just the amount that I feel better now compared to where I was in January. Like I say, broken people can't make better people. So I just wanted to get better because that's one of the things I really love to do. That's the reason we do this channel. It's the reason we do the SWI channel, is because we do want to help people get better. We don't want to, we do want to be a positive influence in people's lives. So I'm just really excited about that. And that's a little bit about my mental health journey. And now the kids are doing a lot better. And that weight isn't upon me anymore. And we have such an amazing team at the company that people have really shown what they're capable of.
Well, and not only that, but you're here. Now you are here and you have your hands on it.
Yeah.
Which makes it.
It does. But we're letting the people in Florida thrive as well. And speaking of which, if you want to see the creativity of SWI and the things that we do, you definitely want to check out the video that's going to drop Saturday, because this should be one of our best videos all year. Absolutely. If you haven't seen that channel, go over to SWI, subscribe, and check that out, because it's going to be amazing. I think it should be very entertaining. I think not because we're entertaining, but because Nick does such a good job of putting the stuff together and telling the story. And I'll just tell you what it is we're going to compete to build Christmas trees. Every location that we have, so all 4 locations, compete to build a Christmas tree out of nothing but fence materials. Well, I mean, they have to use fence materials, so we have to keep it fence related. That's just what we do.
Duh.
So, and the results are nothing short of surprising and spectacular. So,
I'm actually excited. I've only seen ours.
Yeah,
I haven't seen.
I've seen all of them now, and I was thoroughly impressed with all that our team has been able to accomplish. It just shows the creativity that you can foster if you just let people run and see how they solve problems.
We just talk about how sexy our headphones are. Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah, this is Kristen. So Kristen Johnson, the Jackson Fence Company, is in the house this evening, and she apparently really has a thing for headphones. So here's looking at you, Kristen.
Yeah, it makes me kind of look like we have Muppet hair. So.
Muppet hair.
Muppet hair.
You have big hair.
It's really like whoo.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where we're at. And not only that, but I've been getting some mental health advice, and I think after February, I'll tell you something else that I've been doing. I think I'll be ready to talk about it.
But don't be afraid to talk to a counselor. And if you don't,
therapist, whatever you want to call, whatever.
If you find one that doesn't jive with you, don't be afraid to look for another one, because he had to kiss a frog to get to the one.
Well, it's not really that. So it's just where you're at in your life
and who you're talking to and how they relate to you.
One of the things we really haven't talked about that does definitely play a huge part in all of this is the fact that in 2021, it really started in 2020, but in 2021 for sure, we basically lost all of our religion. I was participating I was participating in the LDS, Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
And I was there by
Mormon
proxy.
religion. And that's the religion I was raised in. And that kind of fell apart. That's all I have to say. That's all I'll say. And out of respect for the other people that may be watching, that may be a part of that, but it was kind of an earth-shattering thing because it's not pleasant. It was bad enough that it didn't just shatter my faith in one religion, but all religions. Not to say that I don't believe in a higher power. I just don't know what I believe in. So maybe a little bit more of an agnostic, and that really sucks. It's not. It's not a great place to be. I would love to go back to just thinking everything's happy and fun, and I'd like to go back to feeling like I have the answer for life after death. And I know there's going to be a bunch of people in the comments now. Well, the answer is Jesus. Okay, that's great for you to say, but until you've walked in my shoes, probably that's a little tough to. It's a little tough. I definitely believed that at one point in time, but that's why lies are so difficult. I think is because once you lie about something, everybody starts asking, wonder who else is lying. It's very tough. I would like to go back to. That's if I had to ask myself, if I had to discover that again, would I go through that again? I would. I want the honesty. I always want the honesty. So I put a Facebook post up.
We learn a lot about honesty.
I want the truth. I'm just a truth seeker. That's what I want. But the other thing I want is to constantly be learning and growing and getting better. And that's really what this is about. Because I think we're going to look back on this time in our lives and the time in Florida and think that it was very valuable and it happened for a reason, but it was a tough time. It was kind of like that time in Nebraska.
Well, I guess the point I want to get across to people today is that if you're struggling mentally, physically, whatever, get your labs drawn and talk to somebody who, like functional medicine, like I was talking about before, it's huge.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily at your local clinic.
Yeah, they won't help you much. Your best option. Functional medicine and a holistic provider is somebody who could really help
holistic
you.
Providers. And that's one of the things I liked about my counselor, therapist, whatever you want to call her. She's very holistic. She likes a lot of that stuff. She's not 100% into it has to be all the traditional medicine, which is I could go for hours about how we're kind of getting messed up there and how excited I am about the Robert Kennedy stuff, because I think it does have medication all wrong. I think that they're pumping us full of a bunch of stuff that is really bad for us, and they keep the stuff that is not nearly as bad for us or could even be beneficial. And alcohol would be my biggest example. How in the world could you legalize something like alcohol that has no health benefits whatsoever, is known to be a poison in any quantity you could possibly take it in, and that is legal in every state?
Yeah. I guess the other thing is just realizing the importance of nutrition, diet, nutrition. Like we don't think enough about what we put in our body and how it affects us.
Yeah, I've literally stopped drinking soda. I don't drink soda.
It says Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy is, and that's just if I want a carbonated little pick me up. Poppy, and what's the other one?
Olipop.
Olipop, and that's a little bit more expensive. Olipop's pretty spendy.
But it's good. But there's so much to nutrition and like your mental health and your nutrition or your physical health. It's
just even things like getting enough vitamin D.
Yeah, magnesium, vitamin D, potassium. Like there's so many nutrients that we need.
Cortisol levels. My we had a friend get their cortisol levels checked and they're through the roof. Well, if you're not sleeping and you're having
stress.
Yeah, stress. You know what a lot of us business owners have?
Stress.
I bet a lot of you may have pretty high cortisol and you may want to get that looked at.
Well, that's what leads to the insulin resistance.
But you have to talk with your provider, because if you don't talk to them and tell them the problems that you're having, they can't do the test, because I didn't tell them about, lack of sleep and things like that. So they're not testing for my cortisol. They're testing for the other things I told them about. So really talk with them and say, these are the issues I have, and I'm not sleeping well at night, and I'm overweight. I've got, this going on, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And most of the time, a lot of those answers lately have been just, shed a few pounds. And this makes it about as easy as this can be.
Oh, well, my sister went, okay. Yeah. Anyhow, somebody I know went to a provider that said, well, everyone's overweight at 40. So it's really not that big of a deal. And I'm like, she told me that. And I was like,
why do we have to accept that?
Really? So
Oh, I believe it.
I believe it too, but instead of being like, hey, is it a concern of yours? Would you like to maybe get some help with it? Anything like that. It was just like, well, you're not alone, so don't feel bad. You're not alone.
And I've had a flip because I feel really sorry for the people that can't afford this medication.
It is.
I feel like this is one of those things like we could step up and maybe not buy the next aircraft carrier, and we could probably provide some medical assistance for people to get, because what's going to lower our health costs if people are healthier.
What?
We could actually lower the health costs in this country if we would just help people get healthy.
Hey, and how about taking all the crap in the food?
Yeah, but that's not the interest.
The high fructose corn syrup and the food dyes.
That's not what their interest is. And that's why they keep us. They keep us fighting. They keep us on drugs and all the alcohol and everything. That's I don't get it. Yeah. Say no to seed oil. Jacob Mader. Here we're going.
100% right.
Then this is the thing. If you're not feeling good, go get yourself checked out. Get it checked out. Look at it both from an internal point and then from a mental point. Get yourself some professional help, because I was spiraling downhill very, very fast. And because I recognized the signs, I was able to catch it. And because people loved me enough to say things. Yeah.
Oh, show that comment.
Yeah, this is, so those of you that aren't following the news, RFK is maybe set to be head of the FDA, and that would be, wow, that would be
he's going to make some changes if he is.
The stuff that you go to England and you can get in England, and where that you can get in the US, but you can't get in England. Sodas are like 8-ounce sodas.
Yeah, they're tiny. Itty bitty little
sodas. You don't go to England and get great big fountain drinks. It just doesn't happen. You're going to be lucky if you can get 16 ounces. They're not going to, and they're going to be probably real sugar. The Cadbury that we get here, that's made by whoever, it's terrible.
Hershey's
it's made by Hershey's, and it's not the same. It's completely different. And the stuff that you get in England tastes so much better. It is completely different, the stuff they allow to be in foods. And you wonder, but what I was trying to get at is that I feel sorry for those people that can't get that medication. But there's people out there. If you're one of those people that you're miserable with where you're at and you have resources, you have the means and the wherewithal to afford $600 a month. That's about what it is. Just speaking honestly, some of them maybe a little bit more depending on how you do it. So 600, maybe you can find one just a little bit cheaper.
I say it's probably between 4 and 6.
Because you don't have to go Ozempic. We're on semaglutide, so it's not the Wegovy or Ozempic or any of those things. If you're drinking too much and you're worried about that, because if you're drinking too much, you're probably you're overweight. I mean, most of the people that drink too much are overweight because it's just dumping glucose into your system. And if you have the resources and you're not on this, you should seriously consider it, because the health benefits are just so numerous. I didn't want to feel like I was dying. Now I'm just trying to work on getting that lung capacity up, and we're working on a couple other things. But definitely get yourself checked regularly. You should have your blood drawn at least once a year, and it's pretty cheap at most places.
You do wellness labs usually through most facilities.
And a lot of insurance covers it.
Yeah, insurance will cover it 100% for preventative maintenance. That's
the first place. You got to get yourself right so that you can get, because you're not going to come home and treat your family right if you don't feel right. You're not going to treat your team right if you don't feel right. The guy at the head has to feel good. And I think if my people were watching this now and they wanted to comment and speak up, they would say that the Mark that they have today is different than the Mark that showed up in January.
100%.
And that's what we want. I want to be somebody of inspiration and cheer, not somebody that's just always angry. And that's the biggest thing I learned through this whole process today.
Yeah.
And we'd love to talk with you guys. If you guys have problems and you want to talk about it live here on the channel, then definitely get with us. Drop us a message. You guys can drop comments down below. We'll see all the comments and we'll reach out to you privately. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I am Mark Olson on Facebook if you're looking on Facebook, and I am the only one in Powell, Wyoming, I believe. And then if it Instagram, it's Superfencer on Instagram, so you can follow me there as well. I don't know how much of this stuff even goes to Instagram, but you can follow me there. And I basically accept any friendship notifications as long as you don't come to my page and tell me how stupid I am.
Right.
I already know, so save your breath. I know, and I'm fine with it. So do you have anything else you want to say about this week's mental health message? And this is just kind of being the start to us fixing ourselves, because I think next week
of this week.
Yeah. Because I think next week we can
No.
Or not
think-
next week, but next month.
Yeah.
That'll be right before my trip,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 weeks from now, right before the trip, and then right after the
Well,
trip
and
would be kind of
I
exciting.
guess if the one thing that I would like to suggest too is just start small. Even if you just start small, like cut out soda. If you smoke, stop smoking. If you drink, cut back your drinking.
Yeah, figure out what the biggest thing is.
If you eat a lot
and
of
do that at
sugar,
least
cut that
first.
back. I mean, just you don't have to stop all the way, but just start
Yeah.
making some conscious choices.
Pick the thing that you think's destroying your life the most
Yeah, the most
and
toxic
work on
thing.
that.
Because the funny thing is, once you're away from it, you start seeking actually like healthier options and stuff. It's really interesting.
Oh, I'll have my lab results maybe next time, so we can talk about my new lab results. Because right now we're
What do you get labs drawn? January?
yeah. So hopefully
I get
my
mine drawn in
cholesterol will
January
be
too.
lower because we're at 4 what now?
Hmm?
We're at 4 or something now. with my
You were
cholesterol?
at 4. Please hold. In September, you were 4.2.
Yeah, 4.2 down from 6. So that's
Minus
1.8.
2.5.
Like if I could go another 1.8, that'd be pretty good. Would it not?
Yeah.
It'd
Okay.
be like 2 point something.
Mine's 2.5.
Yeah.
I'm better than you.
I just want to beat you.
Bring it.
Now they're going to cut that clip out and be like, he said he was going to beat him.
No.
Bring it on.
In a contest.
In a contest of low cholesterol, I'm
Yeah.
going to beat her.
He's not. I don't think so.
Well, thanks to all of you guys that tuned in. We said we're going to keep these about 45 minutes. I want to keep my word to this. This is it for today. If you guys want to talk to us, message me. I accept all friendships. Just don't be crazy. So
We have juicing to do.
yeah, we're going to juice. Yeah, more on that later if you want to hear about that. I don't know. It's actually pretty good. It's kind of crazy. It's actually wild. Look it up.
Mhm.
Until next time, thanks for showing up. This has been Table Talk Thursday with Mark and Tonya.
Or-
Peace.